This video is about finding solutions visually for the system of equations. If we give you two lines, can you tell us by looking at the y-intercept and the slope how many solutions it has? If it has infinite, if it has one, or if it has 0 solutions? That's what this lesson is all about. Next slide. There are so many ways to find solutions to linear systems. Many ways. Visually, which is what we're going to look at today, by looking at slopes and y-intercepts. Graphically, okay? Algebraically, elimination, rewriting to a linear format. There's lots of ways to find solutions to linear equations. But what we're focusing on today for this lesson is visually. Next slide. Linear solutions. I'm going to give you two linear equations to look at. You'll be able to tell me from just looking at them how many solutions it has by just looking at the slope and y-intercepts. Like I already said, you can have one solution, no solution, or infinite. Next slide. Linear equations. Just as a reminder of what linear equations are, this is the general format of a line. Y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope, so the coefficient in front of the x is your slope, and the constant is your y-intercept. Okay, so remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, and the slope is the rate of change. Next slide. So what is a solution? Okay, as a reminder, a solution is an answer for most things, but for linear equations, it's the point where they intersect. Our whole goal is to try to figure out if these lines intersect, where, how many times, is it 0, is it once, is it infinite amount of times? Okay, because not all lines intersect, not all lines cross. That is why you can have no solution or an infinite amount of solutions. Next slide. How many solutions for each? So remember, this one means that they cross at every single point. There's two lines here, so that's infinite. This right here represents no solution, so 0 solutions, because those lines never cross. They're parallel. Okay, so for the first one, they're the same line. The second one, they're parallel. And the third one, they cross one time. Okay, so that's one solution. They cross once. Okay. So it says, what is true about the slopes and y-intercepts of each? Well, let's go ahead and look at the next slide. Next slide. All right. So for this first one right here, it crosses always, so it's the same exact line. So that means that the slope of both equations are the same. So for example, if I have y equals 3x, because the slopes are the same, it could be 3x, 5x. In this case, it's going down the line, so it really should be negative, a negative slope. So we'll just have it a negative slope. So -3, it has to be the same. Okay, the same slope, but also the same y-intercept because they cross at the same exact spot. So say if I say plus 2, they have to be the same exact line, -3x plus 2. Okay, of course, this is just an equation I just made up. Okay, in the future, the line could be like 4x minus 10 for both, if it's an infinite amount of solutions, meaning that they cross at every single point. Okay, because the lines are right on top of each other. Now for the second one right here, these lines never cross. They're parallel. They never cross. So what that means is they have the same slope. Okay, so let's say an example could be, and since it's going down, I'll just say it's negative. So negative 2x, and it could be positive 2x, but these lines are going down instead of going up left to right. So that's why I'm saying it's a negative slope. Okay, so they have the same slope, but different y-intercepts. Look, this could be 4 and this could be 6. So I can say plus 4 plus 6. Okay, so they have the same slopes, different y-intercepts. That has to be true. Okay, now for the third one, they cross once. So automatically, their slopes are different. This is how you can recognize them. I'm just making up numbers here for slope. Okay, if you see that there are different slopes, no matter what the y-intercept is, no matter what, automatically one solution. So it could be -2 plus 10. It could even be the same, because if it's the same, that just means that's exactly where they cross at the y-intercept. So that's why it says same or different. It doesn't matter what the y-intercepts are. Okay, it doesn't matter. So again, if I'm looking at this, let me do a different color. I'll do purple. Okay, if I'm looking at this, for the first one, okay, the slopes have to be the same. And the y-intercepts have to be the same. For the second one, the slopes are the same, but the y-intercepts are different. That's the difference between infinite amount of solutions and 0 solutions. Infinite means same exact line. 0 means same slope, but different y-intercepts. And for the last one, automatically, if you see different slopes, it means one solution. Next slide. All right, so now it's your turn to see if you learned what we talked about in the last slide, and describe the slopes and y-intercepts of each of these graphs to determine how many solutions it is. So go ahead and press pause, try doing it yourself, describe it with the slopes and y-intercepts, and then press play so that you can check your work. Go ahead, press pause now. All right, the first one. Okay, this is one solution. If it's one solution, the slopes are different. The y-intercepts, they could be the same or different. It doesn't matter. The second one, it means infinite solutions. It's the same exact line. So the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are the same. The last one represents 0 solutions. The slopes are the same, so they're going at the same rate. The y-intercepts must be different. If you can remember this for each type of solution, okay, one solution, infinite solution, 0 solutions, that's going to help you for the rest of this lesson. So take the time right now, stop the video after I'm done talking, and try memorizing this. Okay, in a couple slides, I'm going to show you a way to help you remember this through a flow chart. So if you want to stop now and practice this, perfect. And actually, if you want to wait a little bit to look at the flow chart and then stop it to memorize it, do that. Okay, do that. So press pause now to memorize, or wait a couple more slides. Okay. Next slide. So, equations. So, like I said, I'm going to be showing you equations instead of just graphs. Okay, you'll need to be able to look at the slopes and the y-intercepts to see how many solutions it has. To save you time, when equations are in the y equals mx plus b format, the linear format, you can tell immediately how many solutions the pair of equations have based off these features. Remember, same slopes. That means that they're parallel lines. Okay, if they're the same slopes and different, I should say, and different y-intercepts, that means no solution. Different slopes, that means they're different lines, automatically one solution. Same slope and same y-intercept, exactly the same line, infinite amount. So this next slide has that flow chart that I was talking about. Okay, to help you figure out the order of things. You ask yourself these questions when you are doing these problems. Do the equations have the same slope? If the answer is no, different slopes, automatically one solution. If the equations have the same slope, then it's yes, but there's two options. Ask yourself, do they have the same y-intercept? If it's no, that means there's different y-intercepts. It means no solution, parallel lines. Okay, if it's the same y-intercept, then that means it's the same exact line, so it's infinite solutions. Okay, so go ahead and press pause now and try memorizing either this flow chart to help guide your thinking, because this is an awesome flow chart to help guide your thinking with this. And or go back to this slide and try memorizing these, what we wrote down. Okay, so go ahead and press pause now. Take your time before we actually look at problems. I'll explain the red part after. Okay, go ahead, press pause now. All right, so again, this flow chart is very, very helpful. For example, if I have, let me erase all these green marks. Okay, if I have this first one, I would say, do the equations have the same slope? Yes, so I'm going here. Now, do they have the same y-intercept? No, they're different. Different. No solution. Okay, let's look at the second one. Okay, do the equations have the same slope? No. No. One solution. Okay. Let's look at the last one. Do the equations have the same slope? Yes. Do they have the same y-intercept? Yes. Infinite solutions. So that is how your thinking should be when you're practicing these problems. And we just kind of did 3 right now. Okay. Next slide. So let's ask ourselves. We have these 3 problems right here. Let's look at the first one. Let's ask ourselves, do they have the same slope? No, they do not have the same slope. So if they're different slopes, automatically one solution. Okay. And do write a reason why. Different slopes. Number 2, do they have the same slope? Yes. Okay, so it cannot be different slopes, so I'm left with 2 options now. Now, the y-intercepts, are they the same or are they different? They're different. Okay, if they're different, that means that these are parallel lines and there's no solution. Okay, so we can even write parallel lines, or you can say same slope, different y-intercept. Third one, are these the same slope or different? Different. If they're different, it's automatically one solution. And you write different slopes. Some kind of indication why you know it's that number of solutions. All right, the next slide I want you to try on your own. And make sure you have a short reason as to why you believe that's so. Go ahead, press pause now to practice. Come back when you're done. All right, so ask yourselves, are these the same? Do they have the same slope? No. So automatically one solution. So different slopes. They're not the same slopes. So automatically one solution. Number 5. Do they have the same slope? Yes. Are the y-intercepts the same or different? They're different. If they were the same, that would mean the same line, which would mean infinite. They're different, so this means no solution. Okay, so same slope, different y-intercept. Get in the habit of describing it with slopes and y-intercepts. It's a great way to practice this. Okay, number 6. Are these the same slope? Yes. Same y-intercept? Yes. So that means these are the same exact line. So it's infinite solutions. Uh-oh. So you can write same line, or you can write same slope and same y-intercepts. Some kind of description to prove that you know what you're doing and that you're thinking about it. Next slide. Go ahead and try these. All right, if you haven't pressed pause, make sure you press pause because I'm going to start talking about it soon. All right, number 7. Are these the same slopes? Yes. Okay, if it's the same slopes, there's only 2 options. Okay, either it's no solution or it's infinite. Okay, how can we tell the difference pretty quickly? Well, if the y-intercept's the same, that means it's the same exact line, which means it's infinite. But these are different, so that means no solutions. They have the same slope, but they start off at different points for the y-intercepts. So same slopes, different y-intercepts. Number 8, do they have the same slope? No, so automatically one solution. Okay, different slopes. That's enough work to show me you know what you're talking about. Number 9, are these the same or different? They're the same. Now look at the y-intercept. Are they the same or different? If it's the same for the slope and y-intercept, then that means it's infinite solutions. Same line. Or you can say same slopes and same y-intercepts. All right, last slide. Last 3 problems. Treat it like a quiz. Okay, treat it like a quiz. See if you can do it. All right, last 3 problems. Go ahead, press pause and then come back to check your work. Go ahead. Don't forget the descriptions. Go ahead, press pause now. All right, let's look at number 10. Same slopes or different? Same. Okay, y-intercepts, same or different? Different. So this means that there's no solutions. Same slopes, but different y-intercepts. Number 11. Same slopes or different? Different. Automatically one solution. okay? And it crosses once because they're different slopes. If you wrote different slopes, that's awesome. Okay. Number 12. Same slopes or different? Different. So automatically one solution. Different slopes. All right. That's the end of our lesson. So remember this flow chart. This should be your thinking. This should be your thinking. This is how I think when I'm looking at these problems. I ask myself, I look at the slopes first, and I ask myself, do the equations have the same slope? If it's no, then automatically, oh, my pen was going slow, sorry. Do the equations have the same slope? If it's no, automatically one solution. If the equations have the same slope, there's only two options it could be. It could be no solution or infinite. If it's the same slope and same y-intercept, then it's infinite. Same slope, but different y-intercepts because they're at different parts. They have different, they intersect the y-axis at different points, like here and here. That means that they're parallel. Okay, so no solution, they never cross. So try memorizing that chart. It will really, really help. Okay. All right, the end. Thank you so much for the interpreter who helped interpret this video. Really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. All right, bye guys. Have a great rest of the day.